This is Weather or Not.
All right, happy Thursday and welcome into the Thursday edition of Weather or Not, counting down to the weekend and holding on to the heat.
Yeah, not that bad though. 100 for the feel-like temperature. It's always that first initial glimpse where your body's trying to get acclimated that you're like, man, I'm not ready for July and August.
I know, right? Because we know it's coming. Yeah, we're still in the preheat phase for the big summer heat.
For sure, and that's going to be what we'll kind of do all the way through the weekend. With the chance of maybe a couple splash and dash showers and storms.
Yeah, that's kicking off our first alert is that weekend forecast. Yeah, we're already counting down to it here, and it's mainly just about the heat as we head into the weekend. It's not extreme heat, but it's hot, and we'll call it hot. You know, it's mid-June in South Carolina, so upper 80s to near 90 on the beaches, low to mid-90s inland, and you can see that heat index forecast again, a degree or two either side of 100 through the weekend.
Yeah, it's hot enough to where you don't have to do anything to sweat. You go outside, give it a couple minutes, and it will certainly be that way. And just give your body a couple of extra breaks throughout the weekend. Maybe find the beach, the pool, or if you are outdoors doing some yard work, plan on maybe taking a break or two. Rain chances as we go into the next couple of days going to be at 30%. You'll notice that the weekend we'll get a lot of drier air aloft. Those chances go down tremendously on Saturday, and then eventually I think we start to see the dry air really eat away those rain chances as we go into Sunday and even more into next week.
Yeah, as we head into next week, that's kind of the double-edged sword of these kind of setups. We've got all the moisture down here where we are. So it's miserably humid. The upstairs are dry, so you can't get a cooling thunderstorm.
Yeah, and I think, too, you got to think, still kind of drying out from all that rain.
Yeah.
You get some of that moisture away. I think we're going to even feel hotter as well as we go into next week. Saw some data this morning. Some data impressive. Let's just say mid to upper 90s inland, looking more and more likely.
Yeah, for sure. And with that humidity, I think we probably have a better chance of getting that 105 threshold for that heat index as we work our way into especially maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Certainly looking awfully hot.
Yeah, some 90s even for the beaches possible for next week. So just get ready. There's your first alert for that. All right, let's take it coast to coast. As we do so, we'll start here at home, and you'll notice we'll go throughout your Friday. You're holding on to the chance of a couple of pop-up showers for the afternoon. Most of the activity from tonight into the overnight will be out over the Atlantic, and you'll notice it's no significant rain, but just enough to kind of wet the ground in some of those areas.
Yeah, and just more heat, but again, not crazy hot, just typical hot. Upper 80s to low 90s basically all across the deep south, from 91 in Atlanta, Montgomery, 92 New Orleans, 90 down there in Miami as we head into Friday afternoon.
Yeah, we go up to the northeast, and that low pressure system pulling away and passing through Maine. Other than that, you're going to be looking at a lot of sunshine, maybe a couple showers as you go into portions there near the Great Lakes, some clouds, but overall pretty quiet. Temperatures also not too bad. Yeah,
they're dealing with some pretty significant severe weather this evening. That blows offshore and actually blows in some pretty pleasant weather there from New York at 82, Philly at 83, Washington 86, and some lower humidity moving across the northeast as we head into Friday. Got some active weather there across Iowa. Some of that tries to sneak its way into Illinois, maybe down into northern Missouri. Some clusters of thunderstorms there. Otherwise, most of the area is pretty quiet, including there in Omaha all the way down into Kansas.
Yeah, quiet and hot. There were heat advisories out for today. There will be more heat advisories out for areas, especially as you go into Omaha. 101. I'm thinking about our Chanticleers.
I know, right?
Going to be playing really hot baseball games this weekend. 101 for Friday. They'll stay in the triple digits as they head into the weekend. 102 there in Lincoln, Nebraska. Let's go down to the Southwest.
All right. Nothing.
Snooze.
Nothing. Yeah, we can't even get a cloud really over Arizona. A couple of mountain clouds and showers there across parts of New Mexico. That's some high elevation stuff up there in the mountainous areas again from Santa Fe down into Albuquerque. But overall, pretty quiet, just hot and humid in Texas, hot and dry in the Southwest. 110 Friday in Phoenix.
110 and certainly baking as you go out there. And we'll continue in our West Coast. And this is where the temperatures kind of different depending on where you are, especially when it comes to the clouds and the clear skies. You have clouds, you have showers working into portions there of Seattle, into Portland, into Oregon there. Eugene going to pick up on some rounds of showers as we go into Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and that will deter the temperatures away. They were in the 70s and 80s. Going to be hard to find that as we go into tomorrow.
Yeah, certainly is. And let's talk about hailstorms. We actually had our fair share of hailstorms around here back earlier this spring, and well, the hail and severe storm research still keeps going. NOAA working on a special project right now about hailstones, their development, and the impacts and damages they can cause.
A cutting-edge approach to storm chasing is offering researchers an unprecedented glimpse of monstrous hailstones in free fall. A first-of-its-kind research project from NOAA's National Severe Storms Laboratory combines powerful, highly specialized cameras and a whole lot of light, all packaged up on a pickup truck to literally get researchers out in front of the pummeling precipitation. It's basically the same thing those kooky storm chasers did in the movie Twister, but instead of trying to study what's going up, these weather wizards are more interested in what's coming down. NOAA says hail moves quickly, is very damaging, and is very difficult to study. Until now, most observations were taken post-impact, but these cameras record the hailstones in free fall, offering real-time pre-impact observations like how quickly it melts or breaks apart. NOAA is hoping that braving the battering storms to gather data with their new hail camera will lead to improved warnings, more resilient infrastructure, and deeper insights into storm behavior. Speaking of stuff that does damage from above, thankfully this was not that. Well, not exactly. Yes, that is a World War II era bomb, but no, it was not active, thankfully. WBBH reports the vintage ordnance washed up on a Gulf Coast beach south of Sarasota, Florida, where it was discovered in the sand, encrusted in barnacles, by a group of kids. Authorities responded, evacuated the beach, and removed the device, which was later determined to be empty and not a threat to the public. One local historian says the area was once used for pre-war training, with pilots conducting dummy bombing runs before heading off to war. So, he says, believe it or not, in these parts, finding evidence of bombing is actually not that uncommon. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Look at Jeremy Roth coming through.
I know, right?
What the hell?
Yeah, isn't that fascinating?
Really
I'm always like, I'm obsessed with hail.
Yeah, because
it's just fascinating.
You also think too, just the formation of it,
Yeah.
the updraft, and usually you could see if you cut into it, how many times it cycles.
Rings.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
That people probably don't know, but it's really cool to see that in motion.
And how hail will grow spikes
Yeah.
on it, spiky hail. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating.
Severe weather season, there is enough of it. I do want to tell you, tomorrow we have a really special night prepared for you. Our hurricane special, Plan, Prepare, Protect, going to be airing right here on WMBF News at 7 p.m. We'll also have everything you need to know in our hurricane section of it. But we really had, a little bit of a different take on this. We've talked about how do you prepare. We have a lot of new people in town. Not to mention also, what's the worst case scenario for our region?
Yeah, had some fun kind of putting that together. It's also a little bit scary. Again, it's, if everything lines up just right, it's ugly around here.
Yeah, would rather be prepared than underprepared as we head into the peak of hurricane season. Also, speaking of hurricanes, I think we need to mention Hurricane Eric earlier this morning, making landfall as a Category 4 in the Pacific. Of course, the Pacific continuing to rock and roll.
Yeah, as they typically do. They usually get an earlier start. They're already on the E name. We're still waiting on the A name. Big flooding and big wind issues there south of Acapulco in Mexico, thanks to Eric. But no tropical concerns for us, which is good news.
Yeah, that does it for this episode of Whether or Not. Tomorrow, Friday happy hour, and
yes,
one more day till the weekend.
Let's bring it on. We will see you back here tomorrow on Whether or Not.